Yeah, no, I was trying to get him to come on. We had a big argument, what, last year or something like that? No, this year actually, where he screamed and yelled at me about the flat Earth.
Did you ask him what the radius of his globe Earth is, or the orbital speed, or the circumference, or how far the sun was, or how they determine the distance to the sun? Because he won't be able to answer any of them. And then you could say to him, "So you want to argue with me about flat Earth, and you don't even know your own model?"
Well, that's what I did with him last time, is literally just argue with him the whole time.
Maybe time for a new brother.
But yeah, no, like I even like his girlfriend would argue with me all the time and send me stuff all over Instagram and everything, and she would
Isn't
just
that fun? Isn't
oh,
that
she
just
never had a point
fun?
to anything. She could never
Oh,
disprove anything I told her. So I thought it was pretty good. So anyway, so I wanted to talk to you more about the things that you believe are outside of that wall and kind of getting into that kind of stuff with you.
sure.
So if whatever you got, it'd be great to hear.
Well, we can talk about whatever you like. I love speculating what's beyond the Weiss wall, and
Y-
we don't need to speculate to prove the Earth is a level, stationary, non-rotating plane. We could do that right within our own bounds. But if we want to speculate what's beyond the shoreline of Antarctica, where we're not allowed to go, um,
Yeah.
I'm down. I love it.
Yeah, that's something I'd be interested in talking about. Sorry, just trying to make sure everything's good here. I never use Zoom, so I don't know how it works all the time. But yeah. Did you hear about this book that's coming out? I think they're actually making it into a movie, and it's about someone who's from beyond the wall coming and talking, speaking out about their dad apparently took them beyond the wall when they were children, and they lived beyond the wall for all this time. Apparently, it's a book that's coming out or a movie, or book then a movie is what I hear.
Is
I don't know if you've heard.
is it is it is it uh is it the Navigator across the ice wall or hidden lands beyond Antarctica? Right here.
It might be, but I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's apparently about someone who was born and lived beyond the wall.
Well, that's what these are about, but maybe it's another story. So this is, these books. I really like these books, whether they're true or not. They ring true to me. But these are all things that we won't be able to prove until we have free access to explore our realm.
Well, I don't think we're ever really going to get that
I
access.
disagree. I think
Y-
that the governments are going to crumble. I think that this knowledge is going to go out worldwide, and when it does, everyone's going to just disconnect from the government, and the governments are going to be nothing. I mean, government. What is government? Government govern the mind, control the mind, govern the mind. Meant as the mind, and
Yeah,
what power do they have? The only power they have is the power that we give them. If everybody realizes that the governments are full of it, they've been lying about where we live, who we are, if they've been lying about everything, taxes and wars and theater and in the theater of war, once people realize that, they'll just be like, all right, I don't care what you have to say. You don't rule over me. The only power they have is the power that we give them. It's a belief.
yeah.
It's like their money. The only value it has is the belief in it. So when we get off of their ball field, stop playing by their rules, and stop using their fiat fake currency, they have no power over us. They have nothing. So so to say that that's never going to happen, I disagree. I think it could happen this year.
I really do hope it does.
What did you do to your microphone now? You
Oh,
just
there we go. How's that?
hey, that's better.
Okay. Sorry. I really do hope it does actually open up and we're able to go on beyond the walls and see what's there. I mean, you look at those old maps that they had where it showed the like I can't remember the name of the map, but it on the map it showed all different types of people. It's where it showed Antarctica still attached to South America. It's from like 1570 or something.
Yeah, I know what map you're talking about.
Yeah.
There's so
And
much
like
so much stuff on there. I mean, the if you look at all the little charts, and there's dragons on there, and there's giants, and there's all sorts.
yeah, there's the
So,
face head chest face people.
I'm down. Oh yeah, those are interesting. What do they call?
Yeah, and then like I started looking into the chest face people, and
Yeah.
like it really it's really got a lot in there. Like there's a lot of stories like about these face chest people that are out there.
All around the world, and they're all of the same stories and the same pictures.
Yeah, it's
Why
really
not?
weird. Like it's like face chest people. I'd love to come across those, and
What's
you're going through a forest.
what's crazier, the face chest people or Cabbage Patch Babies?
I didn't see the Cabbage Patch Babies.
Oh man, look into that. That's a whole the Cabbage Patch Kids. That's a whole nother rabbit hole. It's
Now you
crazy.
talking about like the little doll things that people used to have
No,
when they were
I'm
kids?
talking about. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but there's one of the first motion pictures made was like these parents shopping for babies in a cabbage patch, and they're literally picking up live babies and they're holding them, whether they're acting or not. They're holding them in a way like they've never seen a baby before, like they just got here or something. And when you start looking into this rabbit hole, I don't know what it means. I'm going to include it on you're going to be able to search it on the app soon. If you go to the video search button, you're going to search Cabbage Patch, and up comes a whole bunch of videos. But what's the name of the channel? Something, is it Grace? I don't remember the name of the channel, of course, off the top of my head. But
Oh yeah.
just watch a few of these Cabbage Patch um, videos,
Yeah.
and it's going to make your head spin. Unlike
It's
the air
kind of like those
stationary.
orphan trains or something like that.
It's right up there with the orphan trains, right
Yeah.
there. So this world is not what we think it is. So
No.
even us people that have woken up to the globe lie, we're still, there's so much stuff that we're trying to figure out.
Yeah,
It's
I don't
mind
know if we'll
blowing.
ever get it.
Yeah, well, I think we're gonna make you. We've in the
I mean,
last 6 months, last year, it's gone way huger than we ever thought, and it's exploding from here. It's going faster and faster, unless the elite that want to be whatever you want to call them, do something so drastic that everyone's just literally concerned about survival. I think that this is going to go mainstream, and that people are, that we've got a great
gonna
future
start.
for those of us that wake up. The ones that are sleeping, I think the world's going to be split into two categories. People that are asleep, basically living in like Logan's Run, and then there's people that are going to be awake that have connected back to the earth and taken our power back. And I don't think the elite can do anything about it.
No, once you get enough people all like band together in there, they won't be able to stop it, right?
Yeah. You know,
I
one,
just
one person awake is more powerful than a million sleeping. So
100%,
do the
right?
math. Do the math.
Yeah, right. And eventually like they're gonna have to let us like we need to like organize a trip, to Antarctica and just keep sailing it till we find the way through.
Well, airships would be the way to go. The airships that they used to have here that cruised all around the earth. That's why they demonized airships. They've taken down, the false flag of the Hindenburg, which demonized hydrogen, and then
Yeah.
NASA controls all the helium. Uh, so it's not easy to create an airship company. Now they are talking about some, cargo companies using airships and whatnot, but it's going to be highly regulated. You're not going to be able to just get into a ship and go, hey, you know what? We're going to cruise down south and see what's out there. You're not going to be allowed to. You can't get a boat down there. You can't get an airship down there. You can't get an airplane down there. Yes, you can go to the shoreline of Antarctica.
Yeah, like a peninsula.
Yeah, you can go right out there to one of those little islands
That's not even
off the
technically
tip
on
right there.
Antarctica.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Right? You don't even technically make it there. So
Yeah. Hey, you're so far from the shoreline, and the shoreline is what we call the ice wall.
yeah.
Antarctica has an average elevation higher than the top two or three combined continents. So that is the shoreline of our world. That is the container of our water.
Yeah, it just holds us all in for us. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but do you do you have any like ideas of why or when the ice wall was put in, or like what happened? Because like those old maps, it shows all that land around there still green with like lions and tigers and different creatures and whatnot running through there. At some point in time, there must have been a flash ice that's created to stop us from getting past, right?
Um, Well, people say, well, we've known the Earth was flat for 2,000 years because there are Eratosthenes and 500
Mm,
years ago. There's all these different things. Um, there's arguments on when the globe was created. Was it 500 years ago? I don't know. But I know that they were teaching flat Earth in the 1900s here. My interview
mm.
with Ruth, I don't know if you saw that. Uh,
Yeah, I seen that.
yeah, so she was confirmed in the 1930s that 1930, yeah, somewhere around there. Um, she that they were taught flat Earth in public school here, and we had other people that says in the 50s and early 60s they were still teaching flat Earth and globe Earth because they didn't know, because they
Yeah,
didn't know. So the question is, how long has the lie been? I think it's less than 100 years old, and they've been trying to slowly convince people otherwise.
yeah.
And
But like just making
it's
sure no
not.
one.
I mean, think about it. You know, the normal person thinks our timeline is 1800s. There was idiots running around in horses and buggies on dirt roads, and
Yeah.
but that's not the case. There was idiots on horse and buggies trying to figure out what this place was because all the cities were already here, and
Mm,
they were repopulating this world. So you got these people here; they're bombing out all of the cities, and getting rid of all of the history. So
mm.
people weren't traveling, they didn't have the internet, they didn't have telephones, right? So any pockets of information were just local, right?
Yeah. You
And
couldn't
so
really
they,
find out much.
yeah, so they literally just burned everything down. But there's still that when I say burned everything, there's buildings in every city, everywhere, that are from the old world. And if you just look and use your critical mind and look at the stupid stories they tell,
Well,
uh,
yeah, like the well, oh, I'm in Ontario, right? And like close
yep.
to Toronto here. And like they say Toronto was basically built within like a 4 year period in Toronto. They built all these like Castle Loma, there's a giant castle there that they say was built within 4 years. That tunnels all through Toronto. After they had just had a massive fire that had wiped out three-quarters of Toronto, they built it all at the same time.
Have you started watching My Lunch Break?
No, I haven't.
So on my app, on the homeschool section,
Yeah.
there's if you hit click the homeschool, which is the little house with the desk in it, right
Yeah.
here. This guy right here, he breaks down in a way like nobody else. All of these stories of these old buildings that he's finding and these tunnels and this buried stuff. It's undeniable. It's not a theory. He's just showing you how stupid the stories are and how impossible they are. And if you watch that, then your whole life will change. I mean, there's no, he's the fastest growing person in this field right now, and it's amazing. Called My Lunch Break. You can just find it on YouTube if you don't have my app.
Yeah, I'll check it out for sure. Cause like I was watching John Levy or Levi for
Yep,
a lot of his videos
yep.
and just kind of like I kind of stumbled on the old buildings from like churches, how they're all designed the same with those big dome tops and they all have wiring coming
Yep.
out of the top.
Here's
Ready for
John's book on the
yeah.
Old World. That's amazing. Sean Hibbler's coming out with Old World Order. He's the guy that did Level with Me, the next level, and Level with Me. Um, that's coming out this spring, anytime now, and it's gonna blow people's minds. It's gonna literally destroy all history teachers' careers. They're finished. It's over. Right? Anyone
Yeah.
that pays attention to this, it'll end all history teachers' careers.
Well,
I
because
mean,
I mean, from what I understand, most of our history is all a lie.
it's all not most, every single bit of it, every bit of it.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
nothing
yeah, I
true.
meant more of like anything that's old enough or anything. So, have you seen the Terrence Howard thing where he talks about the how math's fundamentally wrong this entire time?
No, tell me about it.
So, you know who Terrence Howard is, right? The actor.
I don't, but go ahead.
I'm sure you would know him if you've seen him. He's really popular anyway. So he is saying that the fundamentals of math have been wrong since the beginning of us doing math because of one times one shouldn't equal one.
Oh yeah, I
Because
saw that.
yeah, for the multiplication of numbers. So I mean, all of math has been a lie in our entire things, which I mean, it took a bit to understand what he was really talking about, but like, but it does make some sense. Like if two times one, it only equals two, but you're multiplying it. That's not multiplication at that point in time. You're just stopping yourself, right? So he's saying that all of math has been taught wrong because of this, because it's not two dimensional, it's a three dimensional. It's a weird concept, but I think it has to all loops into doing with that CERN proton collision machine they built and
Well, I don't
ruining
even know.
timelines.
Getting the CERN, there's like
Yeah.
10,000 of those things around the Earth. I think they were here from the previous civilization. Maybe they're
Yeah.
part of creation for all I know. I don't know, but I think that they rediscovered it and they're trying to,
Figure
I
out.
don't know, tear through the fabric of of space time or whatever you want to call it through this realm that we're in. Maybe they're trying to let in evil spirits. Who knows? Uh, the elite are doing some crazy stuff, and I don't believe that they built it. That's
I
me.
don't think so.
Maybe they did. Who knows?
I mean, it'd be easy enough just to go and look to see any construction that was done when to build it. I mean, the one that's in Europe there, it's under 6 countries.
Yeah.
Someone's got to notice that being built.
Although it's being built underground, they could claim they didn't see it. I mean,
Well,
just start watching my lunch break. That's all you need to do to understand that it's all lies. We have a much richer history, and
hmm,
we are way more powerful than they want us to know. So that's the biggest lie. If you convince somebody that they're weak and powerless and they believe you, then they're weak and powerless. The truth is we're not weak and powerless. We have all the power. It's
yeah,
it's just that we're told that we're you know,
we're limited.
we're debt slaves and limited and and they keep us sick and tired and brainwashed.
Well, they do it right from the beginning of like, early childhood. They start brainwashing you. It's like you ever, there's a guy who talks about it as how they start brainwashing you, like when they started it in like the 20s or whatever, when they came out with the washing machine, you know. A
Yeah.
washing machine, it's a great thing. Spend more time with your family because you won't be spending all the time doing laundry. But
I
no,
think
now
that
you
was
got to pay for electricity.
Edward Bernays, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 So yeah, true, true. Now you got to pay for electricity. The truth is, energy is free. Tesla was brought free energy to the New York World's Fair. And JP Morgan's like, well, how do we bill for this? He's like, you can't. It comes out of the ground. He transmitted it for free. There's no way to bill for it. And JP Morgan, who owned telegraph pole companies, copper wire companies, coal companies, trains to move the coal, oil, right? He owned all that stuff. And he realized, well, if that's true, all of my businesses are worthless. So that he literally shut Tesla down and basically killed him. Um,
Yeah.
and that way, I mean, imagine if you didn't have to pay for heat, electricity, or fuel for your car. Okay.
Oh, it'd
And
be
you can have as
amazing.
much as you want, and you can actually use it to be creative. You can use it to travel. You can use it to make things, right? And you can have as much as you want because it's all clean and it's free and it's limitless.
Yeah.
I think that would free up your time a little bit. I mean, you'd be able to say, you know what? I can do that. And you know what? I'm going to be a gardener and I'm going to trade vegetables with my friends and I have all the electricity I need. And a guy's going to build me a deck and I'm going to build him a garden or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
there's that's how the world would work. But now we all have to work to pay for energy.
Well, yeah, and it's ridiculous. Yeah, like a trade world would be much better. We could all be born and all be given an acre of plot of land, and there'd be enough land for everyone who lives on this, whatever you want to call it, flat plane Earth, whatever people. We should probably come up with a new name instead of Earth, something less round sounding.
Yeah. Well,
No,
I mean, the whole population of the world can fit into Australia, having like an acre per family, and half of
yeah,
Australia would be empty or something like that. And that's if you believe the current number. I don't believe that the world is as populated as they say. I think it's less than half of what they say. But
yeah. Well,
yeah,
like,
it's all a control system. If the person doesn't know they're a slave, then they're very much more manageable. I mean, the slave
yeah,
basically, hey, come to America. You can be a slave in America. You can have guns. You can speak freely, or at least you used to be able to. But you're still a slave in the debt system, working to live, and that's just not the way life is supposed to be.
well, I mean, most people don't know that you're born into. You're like, you guys have security cards. We have a social insurance number, and that's your
Yep.
registration to them as
Yep.
your product. That's a
Yep.
product registration.
And people, parents just sign their kids away, don't even know what they're doing, and then they say, "Oh, now they sign them away. I'm going to let them make sure that my baby doesn't get hepatitis from a prostitute. So I'm going to inject them with this, and
Mm,
at least the kid's safe from getting hepatitis from a prostitute."
yeah.
They put crap in their eyes, and they do all sorts of other stuff, and basically they don't believe that God created us perfect, and they think that that we need big pharma to help make sure that the kids are going to be okay. Then the truth is that's the opposite of truth. That is how we've become so limited, in my opinion. Carefully what I say, so you can put this on YouTube.
Oh yeah. Go watch those things.
Yeah, yeah,
But no, like I had my daughter in October, and they came about that shot for prostitutes and used
yeah,
to be for prostitutes and gays, and then they
yeah,
changed it, so they could give it to everybody.
yeah.
And like, I just don't. I'm like, no, I don't agree with it. I'm thinking about even putting my kids homeschool from now on. I mean,
Well, you should. You really should if you can. But they've
yeah.
convinced women, to break up the family to go to work. Most women that work, there's some people that do, make a lot of money, whatever. But most of them are just working to pay for the daycare and for the
Hmm.
car and everything else they need so they can do that. And they're getting nowhere other than breaking up the family.
Yeah, you lose that
Yeah.
aspect of the family.
Right. And they've got more people paying into the tax system, which is basically just for the elite. And it's crazy. It's all about control.
Well, yeah, and the for the tax system and the money, that's what this Terrence Howard guy was saying, that the bank is using this as their control, because one times one for something for you can be a different way as you can say it for the bank, where one times 100 is one, but one times 100 for the bank is 100. So then they're basically just false pre-doing everything, and it's all just made up numbers for them anyway. I mean, the best way to do is trade. If everyone just traded again, it'd be a lot easier system.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
I had when I was renting an apartment years ago, I had two raised garden beds that I built myself, four or five by 10, or maybe 12. And I fed the whole neighborhood.
Mm,
I fed the whole neighborhood. I had too much food, too many tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, eggplants, everything.
yeah. And
Yeah.
like you don't see that anymore. You don't see people at home gardening like they used
People
to. The not Italian old Italian ladies in the backyard, picking
yeah,
tomatoes.
yeah, people don't understand that, this place is magical. You can stick a seed in the ground that you've had for 50 years in a glass jar from your grandmother, and then water will fall from the sky and food will grow out of the ground.
It's
People,
pretty actually crazy.
it's crazy. It's insane how well that works. And you know it
But
it's an amazing system that we live in, intelligently designed realm for us that has unlimited possibilities. They've given us the ability to use our minds to create, and the government has basically turned us into working slaves where we don't know how to create anymore. We don't know how to work, and then live off our money and then be consumers. And people think that, I get half day on Friday in the summer for 2 months. That's cool. And then over the weekends they watch sports, and maybe they go to the beach if they're lucky, and then they go back to work on Monday and they work but then they're really lucky because they get 2 weeks paid vacation. That's so cool, right? But
yeah, right. It's worth it.
that's nonsense. It's all insanity.
We should be
Oh,
able to be living free and doing what we want to do, and
right.
trades for goods and services amongst each other, and working as communities.
There's a book called, I don't know if you saw it, called what is it called? It's called the Iron Republic.
I've heard about it. Yes.
Yeah. So it's in the app, right here, Iron Republic. Uh,
Yeah.
and it's a great book. It's about a senator, a guy or Congress, somebody in American politics that really got sick and tired of the bull crap, and sold his house. This is in the late 1800s. Sold his house, sold everything, got a big ship and a crew, and went exploring Antarctica. And he went through an opening, got sucked into it, and then he was lost at sea for like a month or two or even three. They couldn't figure out where they were. The stars were wrong and everything. And then he saw land and he saw a city, and they pulled up at night and they were waiting for the daytime to go in. And a boat came out in the morning and greeted them. And it's like, hey, where are
Iron
we?
Republic.
Iron Republic. And he's like, well,
Yeah.
America. And then he didn't understand. But basically, the story says, long story short, already too late for that. Um, he lived there for a decade. He ended up getting married and everything was well. And then his wife died, I think. He was
Hmm.
distraught. He got his ship back and he made it back to Florida. And he wrote these articles in Florida Magazine, which you cannot find a physical copy of that magazine anymore. They've
No, of
literally
course not.
eliminated it. You can find anything. You can find the
Yeah,
First Time magazine, whatever you want, but
but
not
not
this.
that.
Okay. And whether it's true or not doesn't matter, because in the 1800s, they were talking about more land beyond Antarctica. That has to give you a clue
Mm.
of what the understanding of this world was, right?
Yeah.
So I believe it's a true story. If it's not a true story, it's a fictional story about a real situation. But it seems there was too much detail in that, and the fact that you can't find a single physical copy. There's too many clues that says that that's really happened.
See, actually, that is so the Iron Republic, that story is the story I'm talking about with the girl who was born from beyond the wall. She was the daughter of him that he had with that wife. And this is from her accounting from his books that he or from his journals or something.
So you're talking about the navigator across the ice wall right here,
Yeah, that might be
and
it.
this Nos Confunden map, and the guy that wrote these, he's it's from I'm trying to remember the girl, Helen Morris. It was her name, and her father. They're from his father's journals, and she
Mhm.
lived beyond the ice wall. So these books are actually really good. They're really.
Yeah.
And you know what's great about this one? The Navigator Across the Ice Wall. It's a short read, big type, pictures. It's like it's good to read to your kids. It's good to read to yourself. It's an amazing book. But basically, they talk about other lands. Only some people are allowed to travel between them. There's the custodians
Hmm.
that manage who can go where. There's hostile lands and there's friendly lands.
Hmm.
Expand that into fictional outer space and think of the movie Star Wars. Okay.
Yeah.
It's the same story. You got the Starfleet Command or whatever they call it. That's managing who goes places. There's evil worlds like the Klingons or the Romulans. Look at me. I know I'm mixing Star Trek and Star Wars, but
You get yeah, back together. That
yeah,
you're
yeah,
getting the point.
it's okay. The point, and in the book, they were explaining that everyone that travels between the worlds, all humans, have a connection to what they call the source. What does that
Hmm.
sound like? Sounds like the force.
Yeah,
So
true.
I think that Star Wars is a story, a true story. They say there's nothing new under the sun. All the stories are the same. Everything's a hero's journey. Every story is the same story. So they're telling a story about what's happening here on Earth, and they're diluting it by putting it into fictional outer space
Hmm.
to take your mind away from here. No
So
one's
you're
making up any new stories. They're taking old stories and redoing them.
well, I can even notice that now for all like movies and stuff they put out, they're old movies or redone or redos. Nothing's
Everything's a
ever
redo.
original.
Right. Everything's a redo. And then they're trying to spellcast us into a future that they want by creating stories of the future, which are all nonsense. But if enough people focus on something negative, it's gonna happen. Like
Hmm.
I always said, the military wanted to bomb the Middle Eastern countries, and I'm like, they got all the keys and everything. Why don't they just do it? But they need us to will it into existence. So 9/11 happened, and everyone
Hmm.
pounded the war drums, including me. I was like, we need to get those guys because they got everyone's minds, everyone focusing on getting back at these evil people, right?
Yeah.
And then they went and they did it with our permission. They can't
Hmm.
do anything like that without us willing it into
Well, we
existence.
have to have the freedom of free will, right? Like
Yeah. So,
that's
and
part
the
of
other thing
this.
is, they told us what's happening in New York on that date. They told us for decades beforehand. There's so much predictive programming. Look at the Supertramp album, right?
Mhm.
Supertramp, that one blew me away. I just watched Mark Devlin. I don't know if you know who he is. Check him out. Look him up. And he just came to New Haven, Connecticut, and we're watching him. And basically, look at the Supertramp Breakfast in America album. Look at the
Yeah.
cover. It's a woman holding up a tray with an orange juice on it. Now she looks exactly like the Statue of Liberty. Okay,
Yeah.
the Statue of Liberty, by the way, is Satan. Okay, it's
Well,
Lucifer.
it's
It's Lucifer. Right.
yeah.
It's Lucifer. And then you can see the World Trade Towers. Orange, is 33, and it says Breakfast in America, and the view is from an airplane window. Breakfast in America through an airplane window showing the trade towers. And if you look where it has Supertramp, if you put it in the mirror, the
Yeah.
super U and the P is a 9 and 11 right on top of the towers. Okay. There are too many coincidences for that. So that's some sort of spell cast.
Yeah.
It's
Something they
amazing.
have to do, right?
Yeah. So why do they have to do it? Because of karma? Because they need to tell us? I don't know. I think that's the case, but maybe it's just maybe it's just how their spells work. I don't know. But
I've heard it's just how they make their deals with the devil, right? Where they have to give us the freedom for free will still to make our own choices, or else it doesn't work, or they can't be whatever it is that they take from it, right?
I also sometimes think that people like us that are cracking the code, that are seeing the truth, they like it. They actually like it because they like critical thinkers. I think they
Mm.
look at the normal people, the normies, we call them. That's not a derogative term, but the normies are the people that are brain dead, fluoridated,
Don't
jabinated,
think.
and don't think, and are literally like sheep, the zombie sheep, as Eddie Bravo calls them, right? Zombie sheep. I can see how the elite, the people that call themselves elite, look at them and go, they're just useless eaters. I get
Yeah.
it. I get it. Right. But at the time I was a useless eater, I was always thinking and looking into things. But now that we see the deception, I think they like it. I actually think they like it.
Well, I mean, it also will help them. The more people who kind of open up and realize, then the more they can figure out what they have to do to stop us again. Like it keeps it challenging for them. And
Yeah.
then they got to do the big reset, which will eventually will happen. I assume, because everyone's getting too smart now.
Maybe they're gonna try it. Maybe the creators got our back.
Well,
Maybe the reset is something that happens in a cycle. They know when it's coming, so they're getting ready for it. Um,
well, I
but I
did
don't.
hear about the solar eclipse being like the fourth sign of the apocalypse coming.
What's the apocalypse? The apocalypse is the unveiling of the truth. We can now see through the veil.
Hmm.
There's too much stuff happening. Did you watch the eclipse?
I didn't leave my house because I didn't trust what could happen on that day, because I heard a lot of
And nothing
there.
happened.
Well, no, I don't mean anything like biblical happening that day. I mean, did you hear about that big shooting that happened in Russia, or where there's over 150 people shot? Like, I don't know if you heard about this. It was the week before.
I might have heard about it.
So basically, there was four guys who went through it's like a mall cinema, and they just started shooting people in military style. They weren't just randomly shooting; they were precision killing people, women,
Yeah.
children, everything.
Do you have
So,
any proof of this?
hmm,
Do you have any
I
proof that this happened?
I mean myself, no,
Yeah.
other
And
than
and the same thing happens here in America, and there's no proof. And then when you actually look into it, you find out that it never happened. So I'm
well,
not
I mean,
saying it
there's
never happened.
videos.
I'm not saying there's videos.
Yeah, there's videos of that happening.
I don't think there's any. I mean, there's videos of the Vegas thing that happened at the concert, right? But they're horrible. If you look at it and look at the stories and look at the witnesses, anyone with two brain cells can determine that it's not true what they're saying. So
Mhm.
I don't know about Russia. My default position is fake, but
Mhm.
I'm not saying it's fake. What I'm saying is if I bet every big news story like that was fake and I bet $100, I'd be up. I'd be up. I'd
See,
be
I
up.
found
I'd
this one
barely
wasn't
have to pay.
this one
Rarely,
wasn't really
if
a
ever.
big news story. Like it wasn't all over the news. You didn't hear about it in a lot of places.
But
I
here's the
just
thing: you stayed home because you were concerned,
Well, I'd rather not go out into the public where there could be
right?
any chance.
And that's what they wanted. They didn't want us together during this amazing energy shifting event. They didn't want us together. And if we were together, they wanted us in fear of each other. One, stay
Mm,
6 feet apart because we don't want to get the boogeyman. Two, don't trust that person could have a gun. They want you worried in fear, right? They
mm.
don't want you out in love and appreciation and meditation and prayer during this crazy, amazing event. And here in America, well, that's where the most of the eclipse was.
Yeah.
Um, they chemtrailed the crap out of the sky. We had the bluest sky days, 2 days.
Hmm.
I call it 9/11 blue. If anyone lives in America here on the East Coast, you remember what 9/11 blue was. It's deep blue sky, zero clouds. And then
Yeah.
2 p.m. the day before, all of a sudden they started spraying in front of the sun. And
I
by
noticed.
the entire sky was socked in. And it happened along the entire path, except for some very isolated areas. We were only able to see the eclipse go to totality for maybe 15 seconds, and then it
Hmm.
went behind. It came into a hole. We saw it happen, and then it went behind clouds, and that was it. And then 2 hours later, all
Sunny.
the sky cleared up. right? The sky.
Yeah, it was cloudy here because like we're just off Toronto, so we were right on the eclipse line too. And yeah, like you could, yeah, it was cloudy. You didn't need those fancy glasses of theirs to see them or any
Right.
of that stuff. Like it, but it, yeah, they start chemtrails. It's like how they do it just before a nice long weekend every weekend. You know, on the weekends they start spraying on the Friday,
Not
lose the
always,
weekend.
not always. They what they do is they'll give you a nice blue sky day, and everyone forgets about all of the other spray days, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we had X's and crosses and stars and lines everywhere, and then the other day it was blue sky the next day. I'm like,
Hmm.
why isn't anybody screaming about this? Why don't whether there are no airplanes in the sky? And people will defend this. It's not even a conspiracy theory anymore about that.
Real thing.
Careful what we're saying about this. You're not allowed to talk about this on YouTube too much.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
um, yeah, it's that's a whole other thing. Anybody that's listening to this that is doesn't know Frankenskies, just like it sounds like Frankenstein, but Frankenskies.com. There's a, or just search it on YouTube, Rumble, it's everywhere. Is a documentary on what the history of this, and it just shows you everything. So if you're not educated on what we're talking about, or even if you are and you haven't seen Frankenskies, Frankenskies.com.
Yeah, that's something I'll look into for sure. I got into those things. I work outside construction, right? I had a buddy of mine to say, just look at the sky one day and watch the sky all day. I'm like, okay, look at the sky all day, and you really start watching the patterns go by that they're putting out there, and it's pretty intense, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like the amount they actually do, and like how they just disappear. They're just
It,
like,
it, it's it's crazy. It's
no,
insane what they do.
it's insane all the stuff. I think the government's, kind of behind on everything. Like how much. Like how little control we really get out of things, but we try and you try to get the control over it and you try to, get as many people as you can be open and woken up to what reality actually is reality is anything you can create in your mind. I mean, we all see
There
what
you
we
go.
perceive, right?
Yep.
Whatever you want to believe is the actual belief and in the truth behind it, because you're the one who's visioning everything, right?
I remember it was a cartoon or a movie or something where there was a big giant guy, like 7, 8 tall, whatever he is, not a real giant, but just a big guy, super
Mm,
powerful. And they convinced him that he was powerless and that, he can be led around by his little tiny master. And he never
mm.
realized how strong he was because he believed that he was a weakling and couldn't do anything. And so exactly what you're saying, belief is the creator of your reality, and belief is the lazy man's knowing, right? Because it's
Mm.
easy to believe. Where do I live? I said I live in Connecticut. You may
Yeah.
believe it, but you don't know it, right?
Yeah.
But basically, it's probably not that important to you. You're like, why would he lie about that? I'm going to put it in a truth column. But
Yeah.
gun to your head, do I live in Connecticut? That's going to be a tough choice. Now you got to
Exactly.
research. You got to take time and figure it out. And you could, but people are lazy. People are
It's
lazy.
it's easier just to go with the easy way of doing things.
Yeah.
Everyone just takes the easy routes. That's what they've made life convenient for.
Yeah, and they've made us so busy that we don't have time. But fortunately, since 2020, when the boogeyman showed up, a lot of people started working from home and they had a lot of internet time, and a lot of people are waking up.
Yeah,
A lot of
like
people are waking up.
like the amount of people I've seen that went from, who were vaccinated to now they start to believe like the vaccines are bad for them and all that kind of stuff. Like it is substantially changed since this whole COVID.
Yeah,
Like they messed up with putting that one out there. That was the wrong time to be doing that because they didn't win the battle in that one.
right. I'm showing here. These
Yeah.
are the people that have my app, and I'd say that's less than 1% of the flat Earth researchers out there.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
We got 170, almost 177,000. It'll be 177,000 before the day's over.
Whew.
Right? And uh
That's a
and
good.
and so people that say flat earth isn't going anywhere, flat earth doesn't matter, flat earth is dying, they're wrong. They're looking at Google. Oh yeah, no one's searching for flat earth because you can't search for flat earth on Google.
No, you can't.
You can, but you're gonna get crap, and if you're a lazy minded person, you're gonna be like, oh, I believe that. I just saw a Vsauce video, and he says gravity would pull you towards the center of a flat disk floating in space. All nonsense, right?
Mhm.
All complete and total nonsense.
Yeah, like gravity. I mean, there's a lot of things I don't know what the actual aspect behind it all is. Like, what do you think to like the UAPs and all that? You notice they changed it to like not just UAPs, but on like something to do with them coming out of the water now. Because I think there's aliens, yes, or extraterrestrials from the outer lands,
Right.
but I don't think they're coming from the sky. I think they're coming from below.
So imagine this. Imagine we didn't have airplanes and we everyone lives everywhere in the world, but nobody has sailed and found Australia yet. Okay. And
Hmm.
Australia is um thriving advanced civilization. Okay.
Hmm.
And then one day Australia with their airplanes flies over America. That's an unidentified flying aircraft.
Yep.
And if they landed, they're extraterrestrials from the extraterra.
Yeah.
So that's all it is. That's all it is. And
Yeah.
it's such an easy thing to do. It's easy to hide the rest of the world, hide what's beyond Antarctica. If you try to go south, you will be stopped. Well,
The 60th parallel.
there's 100 companies that'll take you to Antarctica. Yes, there are. They're all run by the Antarctic Commission, run by the same person, right?
Yeah, and they won't take
So
you past any peninsulas.
right. And we're talking to I wish I got the guy's name. If you hear this and you're the one that told me this, he said that they were doing contracting work, building something in Antarctica on a military base or wherever. Maybe it was the military base, just building something down there. And when they get past 60 degrees, they get boarded by a military craft, and some big honchos get on the boat and they take over their boat. They captain their boat. They're not allowed to drive. They're not allowed to do anything,
Yeah,
right?
it's completely
And
taken over.
yeah, it's completely taken. It's completely, you know, they have no freedom. You can't independently explore uh,
No, not at all.
the outer lands at all.
So like I wonder like if there'd be any way to try to get there on your own without being stopped. I mean, I know the military stops you dead at your spot at the 60th parallel, but if there'd be any way to get around that, where like you maybe take a smaller boat where you're not as noticeable through radar, but I mean that'd be a good adventure to try to take there to try to make it actually like actually go for it.
The problem is there's 8 military bases
Yeah.
all spread around, right? And
Uh-huh.
and now there's a huge distance. This is thousands and this, I don't know, is that 10,000 miles in between there? Whatever. So you're like, oh, you could slip right through. They have radar buoys all through there. So
Yeah.
the boat goes through, they can see the waves and figure out what's going on, and they can see the boat, all of that. You will be intercepted. Well, why don't
Yeah.
you try it, David? Because it's been tried. People have been arrested. Their boats have been taken. Boats have been sunk. People have been put in jail. And even if I could go and I get there, I don't even know how I climb that to get up to the plateau. 200 feet of ice. I'm not climbing 200 feet of ice. And then when I get
No.
up there, where am I going? What do I got? What supplies do I have?
Yeah, you got to go prepped if you're going to go do it,
Yeah,
right? You
well, and
got
it's beyond. It's like it's not an easy thing. It's not an
No, I
easy thing.
know.
It's not an easy thing. So the trick is to get the world to wake up first.
Get everybody on board with
Get
the whole.
everyone on board. And guess what? With the internet right now, and
It's much
even
easier.
Twitter controlled by Elon Musk, one tweet by somebody like Justin Bieber, right? Who knows the Earth is flat, but he's not allowed to tweet that, right? If he tweeted that, and everyone started looking, it's gonna spiral. It's already spiraling.
Well,
But
they gotta change it up so people start thinking about the other stuff.
yeah,
Take their minds off the flat Earth and start putting it on somewhere else, right?
right. So,
Yeah.
I mean, people like, show me the ice wall. Here's the ice wall. That's not the ice wall. It's just the shoreline, right? If a
Yeah.
wall was 2 feet thick, that's a nice thick wall. If the wall was 1,000 feet thick, that's a crazy thick wall. If the world was 1,000 miles thick, that's a continent.
Yeah.
That's a ice continent. Okay.
That's other land.
So it's not a wall. Game
That's
of
land
Thrones.
underneath there,
Yeah. There's land. I don't know what's underneath right here. Probably land.
I would think.
Yeah, I think so too. But again, and there's probably areas of Antarctica that aren't a sheer cliff.
Yeah.
They're probably just like a regular shoreline, graduated, going up. You know,
Mm.
it's crazy. It's
I
crazy.
mean, I think there's got to be, well, obviously there's the passageways through that whoever can travel through and knows how to travel through has done. But I
Right.
mean, where those are, who knows? Like even in that iron thing book there, he talks about it, you slip through the cracks at some point in time, right? To get through it.
Well, that was back then, and the story of the Iron Republic is he asked the people like where what's going on out here, and their story was in the 1600s they lived in the inner world where we live, and there was
Mm,
tyranny going on. Could you imagine tyranny going on, right? And they like we don't want to put up with this, so they left.
mm.
So they left and they took their, maybe that's where the Mayans went. Maybe that's where all
The
these
Mitsupitsis.
yeah, maybe they all migrated outwards. All right.
I mean, it makes sense.
Well, it's very possible, but that's the story. And then so think about this: the elite that know the cycles that happen, and maybe there was a reset, a mud flood, Noah's flood, who knows? Um, they're like, okay, next time we need to make them not know about that. So they created the satanic globe model. So
Mm.
if you think you live on a ball, you're in a prison
Yeah,
without bars. You're in a prison. People say, what difference does it make? I say,
all
what
the
if you
difference.
what if you lived in a building that was 1,000 miles long by 1,000 miles wide by 500 stories tall? That's crazy. Right? So in there are colleges and Costco's and ballparks and trains and airplanes and mountains, right? There's all sorts of, it's everywhere. And you live in there, you met your girlfriend in there, your wife, you had your kids, you went to college, you did everything, and you probably didn't even explore that the whole thing. It's 1,000 miles by 1,000 miles. Most people don't even explore that much.
Mm.
But if you ever start getting within, like, say, 2 or 3 miles of the outside of the building, they stop you. Go, oh, no, no, stop, stop.
No, not
We have to
allowed.
protect the ice. There's penguins and ice. We
Yeah,
have to protect it. You can't go there. Just go the other way. And you'll be like, okay. And no, I'm not gonna be like, okay. I'm like, what's out there?
yeah. I want to
What's
go
out
see
there?
what's on the other side.
All the wars, all of the conflicts in the world, what are they over? Resources and land and
Hmm.
control and power, right? Well,
Yep.
you're the other side, and you have all of these you know all of the other lands, right? Here's the map that was found 10 centuries old, published in 1910 in a newspaper in Hawaii.
Mm.
What if all of these other lands, there's other civilizations on these lands, right? Right here, South America, maybe they take you here to the center of this little continent, and they say, oh, you're at Antarctica. How
Yeah,
would you know?
you
Because
would never.
look at this thing. It's bigger than South America and Mexico combined. It's
Oh yeah.
bigger, it's gigantic. So when you get there, you don't know what's in the middle. You don't know what's to the left or to the right. You don't know
Nope.
anything.
And you don't know at all.
You don't know anything about that. And you've seen my talk about Kiribati, where the ships to the outer lands.
No.
Let's talk about that. You want to talk about outer lands? I talk about this often. I'm gonna talk about it again.
All right. Let's hear it.
And then we'll go back and I'll show you something else. Um, so here is you can go on a website, you can paid sites, there's free sites. There's the ship tracking cargo ships. You can just track them. They click on any ship, it tells you what it is. We
Yeah.
found the ship 730 miles inside of the shoreline of Antarctica. 700. How to get there? Right?
Yeah.
At 730 miles, Google Earth says that the land is 1.9 miles higher than sea level. Wait a minute. How's the ship get there? Then we found another one, zooming out a little bit, that's 905 miles in.
Huh.
The ship. And we clicked on one of them, and it didn't have normally there's a ton of information where it's going, how long
Yeah. It gives you all
where
the.
it's going.
Yeah.
All it says is it was 850 meters long and 80 meters wide. That's a gigantic ship.
That's a big
And
fucking ship.
and it was registered in the nation of Kiribati, right? So where's Kiribati, right? So
No idea.
yeah. So let's take a look. Also, since I've been doing this, you can't search Kiribati anymore on Google Earth. It doesn't bring you there. It brings you somewhere else. They
Of
changed it.
course.
They changed
They
it. So
change.
it's out here in the middle of nowhere. There's a pin on it because they can't even see it. It's a tiny little
Oh,
atoll.
spec.
It's a speck. And China, America, other countries, they all say it's a very important trade route. They gave it $10 billion each not too long ago. $10 billion. And by the way, nobody lives out here. They all live over here. Okay. So
Huh.
the little atoll, this is where people live. And why is that an important trade route? Somebody just told me something about Kiribati. Um, that some other country just said it's They all of their ships stop there. Oh, China. No, was it China? They their ships go there for some reason, right? Why would you need to stop here? What are you getting
Where
there?
they got that's so
Yep.
important.
And you know who Captain Cook is, right? Captain Cook's the guy that tried to circumnavigate Antarctica. There's a
Yeah.
Captain Cook bread and breakfast on the island, okay? Right? Weird. Maybe it's just somebody that's a fan of Captain Cook, doesn't prove anything. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. How
If you
weird.
look if you look at the ships that were actually there at their gigantic, unnecessary large pier, um, it's hard to see, but we click on them and their destination is either unknown or Christmas Island.
What's Christmas Island?
I don't know. Some people say Kiribati is called Christmas Island. I Google it; it comes up somewhere else. But
Huh.
if you think about all the stuff with Christmas and it
The
makes me
lies,
think
the
of
holidays.
child trafficking, maybe who knows what's going on.
Yeah,
Um,
well, there's a lot of that going on in the
Another
world.
thing, you know about the nuke hoax, right?
No. Oh, the
Nuclear
new. Oh, I do
nuclear,
actually know about it.
nuclear bombs
Like,
don't exist. If you don't know
yeah,
about it, go
I
to
do know about that. Yeah.
go to Crow 777 Radio on the app in the homeschool section. Go to Crow episode 400 and episode 35. Just search the site, and if you listen to those two episodes, you're finished. It's over.
Yeah.
Know that nukes don't exist, and therefore you don't have to be in fear anytime you're like, oh, Putin's gonna, Iran's gonna start a nuclear war. You can just laugh, you can giggle. If you believe
Mhm.
in nukes and you hear the news talking about a possible nuclear war, every cell in your body reacts to it in a
Yeah.
diseased way. Okay.
Yeah.
They
But
say that they're good.
oh, I was gonna say, yeah, I watched a guy talking about it before. Like I did know like that he's going that nukes aren't real, and he's like, just watch one of the videos from when they blow up those little towns. Why does the camera not move?
Yeah, and look at the videos. They're literally claymation. They're the little models. They're just so
Mm,
bad. But we all believed it because we were shown it in school. One of the
mm.
one of the military people that said, "Oh, when I was there, when the bomb went off, I put my hands over my eyes and I could see the bones in my hands." Okay, I can see the bones in my hands.
Like
Right?
an X-ray.
He's watching fucking Bugs Bunny. Okay,
Yeah.
you don't. I don't care how much. It's so stupid, right?
Because
So
if it was to be real, he would have been evaporated.
yeah. And then these guys out here, look at them. That's pretty clean nuclear bomb, right?
Yep.
What is that? I don't even know what that is. And they're just walking around. Where's the mess hall? I gotta get some more. Get another
All
can.
casually and whatnot.
Right, all casual, nothing. Right. Then they show up. This is a recent article. This picture's been used a million times of nukes, and they got their sun caps on. That's going to protect them from this really dirty nuclear bomb. So
Yeah.
that's another strike. Thinking about time zones on Earth, if the Earth was a ball, you'd have 24 lines from the North Pole to the South Pole, sectioning
Yeah.
out all the time zones like the sections in an orange, right?
Yeah.
But if we look at time zones, we'll notice right here, there's this crazy time zone. Let me zoom in on it. And it goes across 3.5 time zones, right? Did you know that there's 18 time zones in the north, 24 time zones in the tropics, and 32 time zones in the south?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
It makes zero sense on a ball. It makes perfect sense on a globe. What's in the most suspicious spot of all? Kiribati.
Yeah, that's weird.
Right?
It goes right around it.
I don't know what this means. I don't know what it means. Don't ask me what it means. I'm just gonna say that's another weird.
Suspicion.
Right? And not that this has anything to do anywhere, but the Great American Eclipse that we just had, I believe the first place that could see it was Kiribati.
Oh, really? And
Yeah.
they're nowhere near.
That's where. Well, they're out here, right? And then you go
Yeah.
across Mexico, and it
Oh,
goes,
okay. It comes up that way
right?
across them.
But Kiribati, weird.
Yeah.
I
It
don't
was
know what
weird. Always
maybe-
coincidental.
Yeah, just like maybe all of these energies, things that are going on, and Kiribati is a very, very special place. Seems like it is with all the money and all the interest from all these other countries.
I actually watched a guy doing an experiments for proving that the Earth is flat, and what he was doing is he's basically said you got to look at the North Pole, and if you're in one of the northern places. So now, if you're in right close to the pole and you're looking at Polaris as we're spinning all through the galaxies, you would not be able to see that star all the time. And he said he just took a soccer ball or whatnot, put a string on the top of it with a flashlight at the top of
Yep.
it, and just spun it.
So
Perfectly spinning,
the
and it
argument they
moves.
have there that it's so far away,
Yeah.
so far away that all of the movement we had through all of recorded history is insignificant, insignificant, and causes no parallax. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
all of the stars doing their binary orbits and going around, no two stars have ever crossed positions. They all are locked into position.
Yeah.
Kind of like they're locked in the firmament spinning above us, right?
Yeah.
But finishing on Kiribati, so Kiribati's out here.
Yeah.
There is a trade route, and the ships are going out here, and they're trading weapons, computer chips, tuna fish, children. I don't know. But the question is, how would you know? Because you never even heard of Kiribati before this conversation.
No, never.
Right? Maybe
now
there's another, maybe there's more stuff out here. Maybe there's tons of stuff going in and out of here.
I think there's more land beyond, like, or no, obviously there's more land beyond, but I mean that there's a lot more that they're not telling us, and like those few people who do know about that, I mean, that'd be interesting to actually know what the hell's going on the outside of there.
Yeah, let me. We're gonna have to wrap it up soon, but I'm gonna ask you a question. I'm gonna ask you something here.
Yeah.
So the heliocentric model, right?
Mm-hmm.
Heliocentric model. So let me just pull it up. So the heliocentric model is crazy. We're spinning and twirling and whirling. Here we go.
Roll on an axis.
So this is where we are. We're spinning and whirling and twirling.
Well, spinning and whirling and twirling.
Yeah.
Well, going through this way backwards, and nothing happens.
Right. So you got all the planets, you got the sun, we're flying through space, and somehow with all of these motions, our axis of rotation, an imaginary line, points towards a star that we call Polaris.
Yeah.
So do the other axes, these other planets are spinning, do they point towards Polaris or to another random spot in the sky? Do you know?
Well, I don't know.
I don't know either, but I don't think they point towards Polaris.
I don't think so either, no.
So if the Earth shifted its tilt, its line of sight would point towards a different star.
Yep.
And then everything we would see because of the spin of the Earth would make it look like it's spinning around that star, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But would it affect the solar system? Probably not.
I couldn't tell you.
The tilt of our Earth, what difference that no other planet is relying on? We're just a gravitational ball in this gravitational beehive. Somehow all the gravities work to make a perfect clock, which is just stupid, right? If you can't figure it out, it's not because you're stupid, it's because it's stupid, right?
Yeah.
So the tilt of the Earth, and the Earth, by the way, wobbles, and we're supposedly pointing towards Thuban 2,000 years ago, and right. So the tilt of the Earth has no differentiation in how the solar system works. We could agree with that. I think even a glober would agree with that.
I would think so, yeah.
Okay. So when you look at the orbits of the planets, the spirographs, did you ever play with spirograph as a kid?
Yeah. Yep.
Right? The orbits of the planets they do these crazy spirographs. And if we look here, see this dot? See this dot? See the dot in every one of these?
Yeah.
That's Polaris. Why are all of the other planets orbiting around our North Star?
Yeah. That doesn't make any sense.
It makes zero sense.
And like perfectly.
And this is an asteroid that's also that they found there, a big asteroid that is also going around. Everything is going around Polaris. I thought everything was going around the sun.
Apparently not now. Now they have to change it. The
sun's not lined up with Polaris.
Nope.
But here's the problem. You are able to think and use your mind. And like, wow, that doesn't make sense. A normie, zombie sheep, a fluorinated, VNA, a sheeple, they're unable to even process what I just said.
Yeah.
They're like, well, I'm not qualified. The guy in the lab coat, he's qualified, right? This is the globe killer, the solar system killer. The other wandering stars, then the globe is going, well, explain to me the retro motion. Go buy yourself a spirograph, and that's how our heavens work.
Yeah.
And it's making a loop, it back loops, and it goes around again, and it does another back loop.
And that makes like the flower of life, right?
It makes these beautiful patterns, right? Here's
Mandela's.
Here's Mars with 1 year, a year for Mars, 2 years. It goes all the way around. It makes these patterns.
Hmm.
And so these are all of the other wandering stars beyond our comprehension of what they are, why they're doing it. They're all named after gods. They're all, to me, I think they're sentient in a way.
Hmm.
I think our souls are stars, and that's just me. That's just me trying to figure this place out. But the fact that they all circle around Polaris,
Yeah.
there's no explanation for that.
There's no way it would actually work that way.
Yeah, it's crazy because what if the Earth tilted? Wait,
Just a
were
little.
they orbiting around Polaris when we didn't point to Polaris, and we just happened to live in a coincidental time where all of the other stuff is going around Polaris, and we just happen to be pointing towards it by coincidence? I mean, that's the only
Like,
argument they have, which is stupid.
well, yeah. And like
Stupid.
it's they tell you the same thing over and over, and they while we're like the water would fly off, or like they give you all the same things that they were just indoctrinated with the entire time. They never think for themselves to open up their mind to actually think that there might be something different than what they tell you. Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't like. I mean, it's like you got kids, right? You ever lied to your kids? Well, the government, everyone lies to us. It's
Oh, we
all just
told them about
lies to
the Tooth
control.
Fairy and Santa Claus, and yeah,
All false hopes, false
yeah.
dreams, and you live for that one time a year to spend all that money for all the government to take all your fucking money, all the thing you work for, and just keeps the cycle going. Well, I gotta put in the overtime this week so I can, afford that Christmas gift for my family and all that stuff, and then just keep you going and keep you
Yep.
worn down, beat down, and lost.
Yep.
Right?
So why, with all the craziness going on in the world, am I talking about flat Earth? It's because it's the fact that we're lost in space, spinning out of control, don't know that we're in a prison, don't know the power that we have, don't know that we don't have to comply. It's
Hmm.
that's how they control us. They have no power over us than what we believe, because belief is the creation of your reality.
Yeah, we
So
create our own realities.
yeah. So I woke people up to the Boston event, New York event, the Connecticut school, and all that stuff, and they go right back to sleep. You wake someone up to flat Earth, they never leave. They never leave.
Yeah,
Sounds a little cultish, but the truth is the truth. And once you see the
because
truth, how long ago did you discover the Earth was not a spinning ball?
I'd say probably a couple years now.
Have you been bored for more than 1 second since then?
No,
Never.
this is
And
always stuff to find out.
there's always something to find out, and that's the when you become a flat earther, you have that childhood thrill of learning, right?
Hmm.
Because the people are like,
Discovering.
oh yeah, when by the time you graduate high school, and college is even worse, you're done. You've just you have all of the creativities taken out of you, all of
Hmm.
the wonderment, all of that natural ability that we're born with is taken out of you, and
Yeah.
you know, once you let that go, when you wither away and die. Me, I've never felt so full of life ever. This is the most amazing thing ever. This is the most exciting time ever. This is the greatest time to be alive. And
Hmm.
I see a
Discovering.
huge shift coming. Everyone listening, you need to start talking to other people. Do whatever you can. Share my app, right?
Yeah.
App is the greatest way. Literally is. If there was something else better, I would tell you about it. But it's the greatest way to teach yourself, to keep up to date, to teach others. It has so much stuff on it, and I'm going to be adding a new feature soon where you can enter your own meetups, and it literally everyone it'll notify you, hey, there's a meetup within 100 miles of you, and it'll
Oh,
send
that's awesome.
an email. Yeah, it's gonna revolutionize the way that we get together. There's going to be thousands of more meetups, and people are going to go, oh, I missed it, because all you got to do is go in the app when it's available. It's not out yet, coming soon. I tested the
Yeah.
first version today. And say, notify me of any meetups within 500 miles, because I'm aggressive, right? Or 100
Yeah.
miles. And then anytime, let's say you go in there and you say, okay, I'm going to set up a meetup, you set it up, it's going to I'm going to choose, I want to be notified by email, by push notification, and by text message, right? Because I don't
Want it
want to
all.
miss it, right? And so as soon as that entered, bam, the whole thing gets sent to me. Everyone knows about it. And then it goes from there. I think
That's
it's going to
awesome.
be the greatest game changer. The app has so many game changers on it right now. And the app, by the way, it's $3, but there's if you want to message people, you can receive messages, but if you want to message people, if you want to use the games, if you want to what else is there? If you want to use the search, I was using the video search and on the images search. You have to be a subscriber for those, right? And the subscription, it's $100 a month. No, it's $11 a year. Okay,
Hmm.
it's only $11 a year, and
That's a good price.
yeah, you can also, if you're like, I don't want to do $11 a year, or you're on your parents' plan or whatever, go right up here. This is the referral area,
Yeah.
and you can customize your code, make it your name, whatever you want, and then tell people when you're showing people the app, you show them like, oh, you look at these pictures, and you're trying to talk to them about Flat Earth. Everyone says the same thing. They say, where do I get it? Right. And then you tell them to download it and tell them to use your referral code, get 11 points, you get the subscription for free. Right.
Even better.
And we're adding a new, I'm not even, you know what? I can't even announce it yet. We're adding another way to get compensated by referrals, and everyone's going to love it. Just think Dogecoin, but better.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on again, and thanks for talking to me. It was nice, discussing what our thoughts are about things.
It is a pleasure talking to somebody that has a mind that's able to think, imagine, create, and use logic. So thank you for having me.
Well, thank you very much, Abe, and I'll talk to you and maybe get together another time and see what we figure out for what else they've been lying about.
Yes, sir. All right. And send me a link when you put this up so I can share it. All right.
Yes, I will. All right. Take care.
All right, man. See you. Bye.
Yeah.